Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 la. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. We go out. Hine, kill it. Umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. Stay right here. Stay right here. So, Mickey, Sandy, Nancy, and Lee are half of our Susan Stumer Cultural Arts Committee, who has been working with Caroline from the Gold Coast Arts Center to put together the robust calendar of cultural arts programming that we're bringing to Temple Beth-El this year. Regina's going to talk a little bit about it later, but I want to say thank you to all of you and to the other members of the team, Len Schiff, Rob Yeamans, Debbie Sutton, and Karen Siegel. And all of you together have put in a lot of effort and given good thought to what kinds of programs our community will appreciate, and I think it's going to be wonderful. So thank you all. Everyone, Shabbat Shalom. Let's turn to the people sitting around us, wish each other Shabbat Shalom. Try to say hi to someone you haven't met before. Thank you.
Alrighty, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We will start on page 20 with Shalom Aleichem, welcoming in our Shabbat angels.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlakim, Mimelech Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Boakem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlakim, Mimelech Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Baruch Aleichem, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlakim, Mimelech Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Tzedkem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlakim, Mimelech Malchei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Stephanie, can you tell us about that melody?
It is a Ladino folk tune.
That's a Ladino.
yes.
folk tune. And so Ladino, if you're not
Judeo-Spanish.
familiar, yeah, it's Judeo-Spanish. It's like the Spanish version of Yiddish for Sephardic Jews in Spanish lands. And we're going to hear a little more Ladino too later in the service from Stephanie. Let's turn to page 21 and read together at the top of the page. Peace is with you, angels of stillness. Enter, bless me, give me rest. God knows I need you. God knows I'm asking. Harried, impatient, at war with myself. Make your home in my soul. Fill my home with your light. Let me breathe in your quiet. Help me savor shalom. Peace is with you, angels of stillness. Enter, bless me, give me rest. On the next page.
Lecha dodi, libra kala, v'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi, libra kala, v'nei Shabbat nekavela. Ligrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor havaracha, virosh mikeden nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor havaracha, mirosh mikeden nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha dodi, I just did that one again. Likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orech u'mi'ori, uri, uri, shir daveri, alayich nigla. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela.
If it is your custom to rise and greet Shabbat, please do so now.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בלם, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela.
We continue with Baruch Hu, our call to worship on page 26. Please rise as able.
La la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Golel yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravi.
Page 34. Oh, sorry. It's the wrong page.
Shema 32. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. Page 34.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וקשרתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Let's turn back one page to the bottom of 35. Love the strangers among you. Love them as yourself. See yourself in their eyes. With your own hands, bind up their wounds. Teach your children to unlock their hearts and share their wealth. Inscribe words of welcome at your gates and ports of entry, for you have been strangers in every corner of the world. We continue on page 40 with Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Page 45 in the middle, read with me. Peace comes with the sunset, cool breezes ease the heat of day. All things settle into stillness. Gentle song of crickets, moonrise in the silence of the night. Give us shelter in your presence. Bring peace to those who yearn for peace. Enfold us in your quiet. Let our fears find rest in you. Page 46. With Visham.
Oh, 44, okay. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein bnei Yisrael, beini uvein bnei Yisrael. Oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru bnei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim, ki sheshet yamim, asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. Ubayom hashvi'i l'shavat v'yinafosh. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat ledorotam berit olam.
Page 48. Unless we aspire to the utmost, we shrink to inferiority. Prayer is our attachment to the utmost. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומק נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך פעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך מביט ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Page 74.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי Adonai tzuri v'goali, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri v'goali. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, and my redeemer.
As you know, it is our custom now on the last Friday evening of each month to read from the Torah in the tradition of classical Reform Judaism. And so we're going to continue now with our Torah reading, and I invite you all to please rise.
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kama'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiva virtzonecha et Zion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki levad v'tachnu, melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olamim. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu le'Adonai iti, u'neruma Shemo yakdam. Lecha Adonai hagedula, v'hagevura, v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach, v'ha'od. Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'hamitnaseh lechol rosh. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed.
You may be seated. We are going to be reading from Parshat Nitzavim. If you got the green book when you walked in, it's on page 1219.
Okay, ready?
Wait.
One, 2, 3. Yep. Baruch hu et Adonai hamivorach.
Baruch Adonai hambarak leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Can you hold this, please? Amen. Atem netzavim hayom kolchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem, roshechem shivtechem zignechem v'shotrechem kol ish Yisrael. Tapchem nashechem v'gercha asher b'kerev machanecha mechete v'tzecha ad shoevim mimecha. Le'avrecha bivrit Adonai Elohecha ube'alato asher Adonai Elohecha koretim becha hayom. You stand this day, all of you, before your God Adonai, you tribal heads, you elders, and you officials, all the men of Israel, you children, you women, even the stranger within your camp, from woodchopper to water drawer. to enter into the covenant of your God Adonai, which your God Adonai is concluding with you this day, with its sanctions in order to establish you this day as God's people, and in order to be your God, as promised you and as sworn to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Great. One thing I want to note before we say the closing blessing. So in the passage that Rabbi Megan just read, the English translation, she said, everybody's standing here at Sinai before God to enter into the covenant. And one of those froms and twos says, from the wood chopper to the water drawer. And the Midrash says that the wood chopper is Abraham, and the water drawer is Elijah. And so the idea is that all the Jewish people, from the beginning to the very end, from Abraham all the way to Elijah, were present at Mount Sinai to enter into the covenant with God. The covenant is timeless. And that moment, whatever it was that we experienced, we all experienced it together. Not only the people who were incarnate then, but all Jewish souls that ever would come to be. Ready? Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu, baruch ata Adonai, noten haTorah. Beautiful. Stay right here. Yasher koach. We will pray now for loved ones, friends, family members, community members, people here and in Israel and everywhere who are struggling and need healing and strength and peace. If you're praying for someone this evening and you'd like to share their name, I invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Beth. Thanks, Arlene. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Elaine. Thanks, Michael. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, Susan. Thank you, John. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, Rabbi. May God be with all of them and bring them a renewal of body and spirit.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheverach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal
rise.
מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם.
Go ahead and sit down. Please be seated, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Excellent. As we head into our new year, I'm really excited to introduce our guest speaker to you, who's going to talk about the beauty of the arts, and the arts as an avenue to meaning and purpose in Jewish life. Now, the arts and music, culture are all very important to us here at Temple Beth-El. And last year, as we were starting to think about the year ahead and what we wanted to do for our congregation and for our wider community, one of the goals that we set was to begin to make Temple Beth-El a center for cultural arts in the Great Neck community. That's helped along, as you know, by the incredible, generous gift of the Stumer family. In memory of Susan Stumer, they established the Susan Stumer Cultural Arts Fund. And with this wonderful gift, we decided that not only would we be able to do some great things, but we would need partners to help us. And so we reached out to Regina Gill and her team at the Gold Coast Arts Center, which, as you know, is a longtime fixture in Great Neck. How many years, Regina? 30 years. Regina founded the Gold Coast Arts Center and is the executive director. A number of you who are here have served on the board with her or been involved with the center in a variety of ways. Right in the heart of town, we have this wonderful center that offers classes and programs and lessons of all kinds to engage people of all ages in the arts. And so we got together with Regina and Caroline from her team, and we brainstormed, we imagined what it could be. We formed a committee of congregants whom I introduced earlier at the beginning of the service, to work in consultation with the Arts Center to dream it up and think about what we wanted to do, what we wanted to bring here. And so you have seen, we shared the calendar of events already, but you'll see it again. When we get to the holidays, we're going to distribute our catalog of activities. You'll see all of the cultural arts programs that we're doing in conjunction with the Gold Coast Arts Center. So to launch that, I wanted to invite Regina Gill to come to Temple Beth-El to be our guest speaker, to tell us why the arts are so meaningful to her as a Jew and as a resident of this community, and talk a little bit about what we're going to do together in this great partnership between Temple Beth-El and the Gold Coast Arts Center. So I've had the good fortune of getting to know Regina through this process since over the last 6 months or so. since we dreamed it up, and I'm very, very happy and very proud to call Regina my friend. And it's my honor to invite Regina Gill now to the bema. Yeah, you can come this way.
Can you hear me? Okay, we need some help. Should I? I'm very soft-spoken.
Yeah, that's okay. Try.
How about now? Okay. First of all, Rabbi Stoller, thank you very much for the very kind introduction and for introducing the fact that it's been 30 years. I don't think I thought about that very much, but there are a couple of people here. I heard a loud gasp from Roger Tillis, who has been in on it since the beginning and has been one of our honorees. And of course, Ralph and Michelle Hyman. Ralph serves as the longtime Vice President Treasurer. And Michelle serves as a long time, from the beginning, pioneer board members, secretary of the Art Center, and I'm grateful for their friendship and these many years too. So, yes. And I'm very happy there are a few of you here whom I've met, a few of you might even know me, and it's a pleasure to be here to welcome the Shabbat in such a very joyous and beautifully sung manner. My background does not include Reform, the Reform service, and I'll tell you why in a little while, but it's really quite exciting. So thank you for this introduction. Yes, there are exciting things happening between Temple Beth-El and the Gold Coast Art Center, and I just wanted to make, even though Rabbi Stoller has told you about our partnership, I just wanted to let you know that Mark Stumer himself, when I heard about this fund, I was so happy because Susan Stumer herself, who died too young, was a beautiful and talented singer, and they were quite the love match. And Mark, in his own right, is a talented artist and architect. Everybody knows him as an architect, but if you've ever seen his drawings and paintings, he's quite the artist. That's not me. So we join you at the Art Center, we join you in thanking Mark and the family for establishing the Susan Stumer Cultural Arts Fund. It's quite a wonderful thing. I was telling Rabbi Stoller that I was hoping that this would elevate the arts output here in our community to the same level that Temple Emmanuel, another very good Reform temple in the city, has done with their center, where people from everywhere flock to the events that they produce. So I'm hoping that will happen for you and for all of us here. Yes, the committee has met, not with me, but with Caroline. Caroline is my right hand, and quite a terrific and energetic young woman. And we need energy and we need young people, and it's important I can provide the old history, the long view of the pond, and she provides the looking forward and let's get people excited and engaged. She's a terrific cheerleader for the arts. So when we were asked last year to create a series of cultural events for this congregation, first thing we thought of were things that would engage not just the congregants, but would probably attract people outside the congregation, and how to get them to know about it and to participate will be maybe not a challenge, but marketing today is a big challenge because you have to get your email in and your voice in with 10 million others. But I think that we can do it this year, and when you see the list, I think you'll all agree. Your congregation will be the beneficiaries of a lively, varied, and illuminating series of programs throughout the 2024-2025 season. It'll include art. You have quite a collection here in this temple, and I believe that it deserves a docent tour. Some of the pieces are quite extraordinary. And some of them I don't even think you realize just how important the artists are. I know everybody knows the Louise Nevelson altarpiece, but you have others equally prominent in the art world, and I'd like to be able to share that kind of information with you in a tour sometime in the spring, yes? Yes. So there'll be art, there'll be music, there's always music, there'll be cuisine, Israeli cuisine perhaps, film, theater, book talks, you name it. It'll be hosted by the Gold Coast Art Center and led by distinguished specialists in each field. However, the first event of the season will be a very serious and meaningful one. Almost a year ago, on October 30th, 2023, Temple Beth-El and Gold Coast Arts presented a program together here at Temple Beth-El in the large sanctuary that attempted to address the shock, fear, grief, confusion that we were all feeling after the savage massacres of October 7th, another day that will live in our calendars as a day of mourning for the Jewish people. Our staff had met to discuss so many things, but mostly what we could do now to help process what had just happened, how we could help others process that. So, of course, we turned to the arts. As you may know, this is right now, in fact, we are in the middle of our Gold Coast International Film Festival. And that's, for those of you who don't know, we seek out new films from around the world, many of them from Israel and other places around the globe. And we accompany most of those films with talks by industry insiders or people who can shed light on the themes, but to make the whole film-going experience a truly artistic one, not just for the filmmaker, but for the audience. So I had seen a series on Netflix called Spy Ops. And how many of you, by the way, were here on October 30th last year? Okay, so then you know. I had seen this thing on Netflix and surprised myself by finding the 5th and 6th episodes dealt with the Wrath of God operation. For those of you who don't know what the Wrath of God operation was, it was the response of the Israeli Mossad to the massacre in 1972 of Israeli athletes, 11 Israeli athletes at the Munich Olympics. Arguably, the first terrorist attack on Israelis. We have just undergone the latest. So I noticed one of our longtime friends, Ido Aharoni, the former New York Consul General, was one of the producers and was on camera giving his perspectives at various points in the documentary, which first part one is about what actually happened, and part two is the operation to go after the terrorists and take them out. So I called him, he was in Israel, and asked if he happened to be thinking about coming to New York, that we had this film festival coming up. We wanted to shine a spotlight on that event. It was going to be 50 years or just after 50 years since it had happened. And he said, yes, definitely, I'll come. And not only will I come, he said, I will get permission from Netflix to screen the episodes, and I'll bring the executive producer, a man named John Lowe. Do you know when everything sort of aligns? Well, John Lowe, the executive producer, lives on the South Shore. I didn't even have to send plane fare. So all was well, and to top it all off, he himself was friendly with a man named Avraham Melamed. Avraham survived the 1972 Munich Olympics massacre. He had been a swimmer, and he was there, jumped out a window, and was one of those very few who survived. Avraham agreed to come. Very modest, very humble fellow, agreed to come. We sent for him, and we expected it would be a great conversation about the making of the documentary and the operation itself. However, before it happened, it was scheduled to happen on October 12th. Before it happened, October 7th happened. And all of our films and events, including that one, had to be examined anew through the lens of awareness and sensibility. And the event with Ido seemed like it was going to be canceled because he could no longer come to New York. He was with his country. Other films that we deemed inappropriate for other reasons were being canceled. We were looking at it as a, what do we do? But we wanted to do something nonetheless. So we sat down to talk about this, called Ido, conferred with him, realizing that the arts have always played a role in the service of social, political, and historical illumination. The history of the world and the history of the arts are in sync, and they reveal just how much artists respond to and often influence the events, leaders, and social mores of their times. In this case, we were going to use film, that art form, as a springboard for a meaningful conversation. So we decided to reinvent the original program we had planned, mindful that this time, the presence of the survivor of the massacre would surely launch an even more meaningful conversation, more powerful than we had expected before the latest massacre. The evening was entitled Community and Conversation. All of you who are members here should be proud of it. I know Roger Tillis was one of our boosters and supporters for that event, and it was called A Special Evening in Support of Israel. Rabbi Stoller began the program with an invocation. Prayers for the soldiers of the IDF were said. Posters of the entire roster of hostages lined the walls of the sanctuary as a powerful reminder to everyone of their ongoing suffering. And so it began. We weren't going to just leave posters on the wall originally. Originally, we were going to leave seats empty in that large sanctuary for each of the hostages as a visual reminder that they're missing. Until we realized that if we had done that, we wouldn't have enough seats for the audience, sadly. The event was free. It was open to the public thanks to sponsors of the event and someone who underwrote all kinds of issues. And we were grateful to the Nassau County Police, who provided admirable security because, understandably, people were worried about coming. We were also lucky because the ideal person to moderate and lead the conversation was going to be the Gold Coast Art Center chairman of the board, Michael Glickman. People who don't know Michael don't know that his entire academic and professional career has been built around advancing the scholarship, action, and philanthropy in support of the Jewish people, and whose last position was serving as the president of the New York Holocaust Museum in Battery Park. Rabbi Stoller and his team reached out. There was a tremendous effort made to make people aware that this was something that was meant for everyone to come together at a time when it appeared that people really needed to come together. We reached out to those people with whom we had relationships, getting people to commit to coming and to putting the word out among their organizations. And before we knew it, we realized this was going to be an important and well-attended event. People came, Jewish and non-Jewish, across the spectrum of countries and ethnicities and commercial, civic, religious, educational endeavors. We got everybody wanted to be there, and it started to snowball. What we didn't expect was that more than 900 people would attend in the beautiful main sanctuary at Temple Beth-El, many of whom had never been here, to listen to music, because music is also an art form that has a lot of healing properties, to powerful speeches by individuals, like Acting Consul General of Israel, Aviv Ezra, and I still thank my husband for making that call, because to have anybody from the consulate at that particular juncture was a miracle. And he came out and was absolutely wowed by the response from the congregation and the people who attended and went back. I know he went back. I heard from my friends in Manhattan that this was considered the top of the food chain when it came to these events that early in the process. And Avraham Amalamed and John Lowe were on, and Michael had a conversation with them, and we screened segments of SPI-OPS, the ones that were appropriate for, that we would know that would lead to the conversation. And that was all fine. And then we were very, I don't know if happily surprised is the word, but we were moved that Natalie Sanandaji, herself a survivor of the Supernova Concert Massacre, was coming, that at the end she would take the stage and share her eyewitness, harrowing story of survival. 900 people, and you could hear a pin drop. When it was over, I decided, and by the way, nobody wanted to leave. When it was over, it wasn't over. People were milling around in the front, and it was as though people walked in, you could see as though they were going to a funeral, and at the end they were actually uplifted and rejuvenated and ready to fight, but fight for good. When it was over, I decided that the experiences of, and now I'm going to get personal, my entire life had led me to this moment, and that for me it was the most important event I had ever personally helped to produce. You see, I was born in a Red Cross displaced persons camp in Germany after World War II to parents who had survived the Holocaust. They had been introduced to one another in camp, married in camp, had a baby in camp, and then had to figure out where to go and how to rebuild a life as normal as it could be, given their terrible experiences. So I grew up listening to stories that most American-born children don't have to listen to until they're much older and can process, and just internalized all of that. And I found my outlet, my solace, in the arts when I finally realized that was what it was going to be. And I was lucky because my father was a cultured fellow. He was 19 when the war broke out, but he had had an education up to then that included music, art, and the full range of European cultural activities. He was the one who would provide me with an exposure to classical music. He was the one who made sure that I had art supplies when it appeared that I had talent in that direction. He also reminded me, because when he passed away in 2004, I called him my moral compass. He was also the one who reminded me what hard work, that nothing happens without hard work. And also taught me that rivers of wealth can run dry, so can rivers of opportunity. But they can also return if you work hard and believe. The rest of my education he left to my mother. So she's the one, before I finish, I just want you to know one thing that occurred to me. He believed in God, in his Jewish heritage, and in the debt that he felt he owed his murdered people for his survival. He also loved America, and he never went back to Europe again. He did go to Israel. My mother took me, she was 12 when the Nazis entered her village, and she passionately believed in learning and education. Hers had been so cruelly interrupted. And she was embarrassed about her lack of formal education, so she went to night school when we eventually got to New York. She took me to the library when I was very young, and by the time I finished, I think I must have read every book in the whole children's section. But the library was my sanctuary early on, because I believe literature should be considered one of the arts. And then later, art studios, museums, galleries, concert halls, theaters of New York City became other sources of comfort and excitement, but also stimuli and outlets for my thoughts and dreams. My Jewish education was always informed by two things: the Holocaust and the founding of the State of Israel, which happened in the year that I was born. Yes, you can do the math. Hebrew school filled in other parts of my education. But the thing that I loved the most, with all due respect to Hebrew school teachers, the thing that I loved the most were the Bible stories. The Bible stories captured my imagination, and I used to draw pictures and illustrate them as if I was writing the book. I drew, painted, doodled everything in sight. Biblical heroes and heroines. I remember, just as an aside, I remember being fascinated by King David's first wife, Michal. I don't know how many of you know who she was, or that she was, but she was King Saul's daughter. And when he hooked up with Bathsheba, she's the one that he betrayed. So I found what did she look like? And in my mind, I was always thinking about that. So those were my first inspiration. After winning a New York City art competition at 11, that set me on a path that led me to the High School of Music and Art, which was my Camelot. I loved it there so much because you could, through the arts, there were singers here, dancers there, artists, you could reinvent yourself. Nobody cared where you came from or how you got here. All that remained was to learn and learn and learn, and as fast as I could, and become the best at what I could do. Along the way, I met and married my husband, who, how surprising, was from Israel. And that sort of reinforced my love for Israel and brought it full circle into my life. He's a businessman, something that I wasn't grounded in, although many performers and artists are, and I have always urged those going into the arts, going into anything, to get an education in business as well. It's very nice to dream, but the real world is often not the world you dream about, and it pays to be aware of how to navigate it. I tell that to my grandchildren. I became a painter, a commercial illustrator, an art teacher, and eventually the founder of an art center where children like me, with the same visions and passions, could find their futures. But the arts are not just for children like I was. I believe firmly that the arts are for everyone. When you got up this morning, gentlemen, and you picked a tie, if you're still wearing ties, or you picked a shirt or a sweater or a piece of jewelry, you made an artistic decision. So the benefits of music and math have been documented. I have been supported by science. I have been supported by science just yesterday when Wall Street Journal had an article, a book review, about that included something about Joni Mitchell. Everybody know Joni Mitchell? Okay, Joni Mitchell suffered a terrible brain aneurysm. She couldn't speak. Everybody who knows her history knows her. And how did she come back to function? Does anybody know? I didn't know. Apparently through her own music. Apparently the neurologist who was caring for her decided that he was going to bombard her with her favorite music among other pieces were her own pieces. And one day she smiled, which she hadn't done. And eventually, between that and PT and the other things, music helped heal her, because music can heal. So the arts are not just for little kids. They're not just for those who want to be famous or professional artists and performers. The arts can provide any person a way to be so absorbed that the outside world and all its stresses can't intrude. A way to focus on whatever moves you or motivates you, so that you can express it in a new way, be it music, art, dance, dramatics, or film. There was a study done. Now, if you were all 5-year-olds right now, and I said to you, raise your hand if you're an artist, every one of your hands would have gone up, because they did that study, and 100 kids, 5-year-olds, raised their hands, and their hands went up. The people in Indiana, the professors who were studying this, waited, kept up with them, and then 10 years later reassembled as 15-year-olds, those 5-year-olds. Same question, how many hands went up? 5. So what happened to the other 95 people? Did they suddenly wake up one morning and say, I'm not an artist because I hate art? Something happened as part of their education that told them that, they weren't going to do this. So for us at the Art Center, the arts are for everybody. We worry about the process. We want to give you an experience, not the product. And too many people worry about the product. The arts are very much in sync with our faith. Don't we just sing our prayers? I mean, tonight was a perfect example. And don't we enjoy the illustrations and illuminations in the Haggadahs? And don't we dance joyously at weddings and other life cycle events? Don't we get married and sometimes have artists illustrate our ketubahs? Judaica is a term that was invented for a whole other series of art forms for the creation of the items we use as part of our services and rituals. So call it what you will, but people seeking oneness with the universe can use the arts to find spiritual experiences or use their faith to make great art, beautiful art, or just satisfying art, or not. Being part of the cast of an amateur production can fill you up. We also turn to the arts when we are down, and that brings me back to where we are today. almost 1 year after our last big event here at Temple Beth-El, and tragically, still waiting for the hostages, captive under unspeakably barbaric conditions, to be released, even as Israel is fighting for its life on, I think Bibi Netanyahu said today, 7 fronts. This time, the goal will be to illuminate, heal, comfort, and inspire, to honor, remember, and hope. Once again, Temple Beth-El will host an event on Sunday, October 6th at 4 p.m. to mark the 1-year commemoration of the massacre. We mourn, but we also pray and hope for the future. One of the hostages said upon her release, "We will dance again." If she could say that, we can believe that. So we turn once again to the arts for our hope. The event on October 6th will be about music. We have created a program of music that expands the presence of the musical portion of last year's event and makes it the central focus of a concert to mark the occasion and to support Israel. Our evening will feature the Zemer Trio, an accomplished group of musicians recently organized by Sharon Kahn Bernstein, herself a cellist, followed by the Shirenu Choir of Long Island, led by Deborah Tartel, the conductor. They will perform a series of uplifting and good music, great music, from different sources, both liturgical and secular. Rabbi Stoller will be your moderator, and he's planning to bring some of his colleagues to join him with their own insights from our Jewish traditions and liturgy. It is free, it's open to the public. I hope to see you there then, and at all the great events coming up this year, so keep an eye open for your temple notices. Shabbat Shalom, and I wish you all a Shana Tova, happy, sweet, and peaceful New Year. Thank you.
All right. Sorry about that. I've picked a song for us this week that celebrates different aspects of Judaism and what Jewish people do. And it's a song that you usually sing at the end of Shabbat to say, have a good week. It is another Sephardic song. These Ladino songs are very close to my heart, as I am half Sephardic. And I did my graduate project on that, so you'll be hearing some of these. So the translation is as such: May God give us a good week, health and life. May my children be blessed. May my children come to synagogue, study Torah, be circumcised, and wear tefillin, health and long life. And the best part about this is it is going to be accompanied by you. So here we go. I'm going to find it. I don't know why it wasn't just pulled up, because it was. Okay, I don't need to look at it, it's fine. All right, so please repeat as such. Don't do that part. Ba-da-ba-ba.
Buena semana nos dio, buena semana nos dio, buena semana nos dio, alegres y sanos. Buena semana nos dio, alegres y sanos. A mis hijos bendecir, a mis hijos bendecir, que velos deje Dios vivir. Buena semana. Buena semana nos dio, alegres y sanos, para fadar y circuncir, para fadar y circuncir, para ponerte filín. Buena semana nos dio, alegres y sanos. Buena semana nos dio, buena semana nos dio, buena semana nos dio, alegres y sanos. Buena semana Thank you. Great job. Yashar koach.
Thank you, Stephanie. That was great. And thank you, Regina. That was beautiful. And we appreciate you sharing and being here. It's our tradition now, apropos of what Regina said. We're remembering those who are held hostage. We're praying for them, for their safety, and God willing, their return. And it's our tradition each week to lift up the name of one of those who remains in captivity. And so this Shabbat, I'd like to say the name of Ariel Bibas, who was 4 years old when he was taken from Kibbutz Nir Oz and turned 5 in captivity. A little boy with red hair. Many of us have seen him on television, and the spitting image of Arlene's great-grandson, right? So we hold him in our hearts, and we pray for him, for his safety, and for his family members who are also held hostage, and all those who remain in captivity. May God be with them, keep them safe, and bring them home. Please join us in praying for the people in the state of Israel.
Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'golo. Avinu, Avinu, Shebashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'golo. Baruch, Baruch, et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichot geulatenu, Hagen aleha bevrat tzadkecha, ufros aleha sukat shalomecha. Avinu, Avinu, shebashamayim, tzur Yisrael v'gomalo. Avinu, Avinu, shebashamayim, tzur Yisrael v'gomalo.
We can continue with the conclusion of our service, starting with Aleinu on page 78. Please rise as able.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו בהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Now is a time where we remember those who are no longer physically with us, but always with us in our hearts. This week, we're remembering Golda Kaufman, who passed away this week, Rosalind Linder, Joanna Marks, Ellen Permit, and Robert Watman, who were in Shloshim for 30 days, and the yard sites of Jeffrey Leonard Cohen, Susan Cohen, Nat Corson, Irving Davidson, Benjamin Fishman, Feridun Garamani, Gusty Gross, Joan Grunbaum, Mary Horowitz, Elbart Krieger, Richard Mark Ledbury, Bernard B. Marks, Sylvia Mayer, Samuel Pock, Rosalind Weinberg, Walter Schneider, Elaine Schwartz, Florence Schwartz, Solomon Schwartz, Florence Shear, Rhoda Fader Singer, and Bernice Wiener. If you're thinking of someone whose name I did not say out loud and you would like to say their name out loud as my hand goes around the room, please do so. We join together on page 86 and rise if it is your custom for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach irte v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'mechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevarach le'elam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. De'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yishvei tevel, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, amen.
Amen. Please be seated. I'd like to invite Randy from our Board of Trustees to come on up and greet you. I also want to invite the members of our Tekiah team. Sandy, Adam, and Michael, come on up.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Randy Weiler, and I'm on the Board of Trustees of the Temple. And I want to share some upcoming events. Tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. there'll be Torah study, and at 10:30 there'll be Shabbat morning service and a Kiddush brunch to follow. Tomorrow evening there'll be a study session from 7 to 8 with wine and cheese, and then at 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock the Slichot service.
Really more like 9 o'clock.
8 to 9?
Yeah.
I'm only reading 8 to 9.
8 to
Okay.
9.
Okay. So we'll have you have all this information on email, but Wednesday, this Wednesday at 8 p.m. is the Erev Rosh Hashanah service. Thursday and Friday will be 10 a.m. Rosh Hashanah service. Thursday will be Tashlik at Stepping Stone. That's enough, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Regina, for speaking to us tonight. Thank you. Rabbi Stoller, Shai, Stu, Joy, Jason, and Joan Miller, thank you. Thank you to our usher, Phil Perlman. Thank you to the shofar blowers, who I guess will be doing that. Adam, Len, and Michael. And Sandy. You're taking Len's place. Very good. Thank you to, I didn't say Stephanie. Thank you to Stephanie as well. And, thank you to the Oneg Bakers, Linda, Diamond, Ellen, Safian, Cheryl Silverstein, Sharon Freeman, Nicole Ledbury, Andrew Lazarus, Lee Kaplan, and if you want to add your hand to the Oneg Bakers, just see Joy. I don't think I said thank you to Rabbi Megan either, who's not on the list. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Randy.
have one more announcement. We are doing a toiletries drive for St. Aloysius Church for the food pantry on Yom Kippur Day. So we are collecting toiletries, shampoo, conditioner, soaps, regular 8 to 10 ounces. You should have seen an email about it. So our goal is to pack 85 to 90 bags, which seems like a lot. So we need your help to help us reach that goal. So there are bins in the main lobby, and we are collecting anytime between now and Kol Nidre, the night before.
We're going to conclude with singing from Psalm 27, our psalm from Elul, and then hear the sound of the shofar.
Achat shalti meit Adonai otavakesh. Achat shalti meit Adonai otavakesh. Shivti befeit Adonai kol yemei chayai, lachazot benoam Adonai ulevaker beichalo. Lachazot benoam Adonai ulevaker beichalo.
Please rise. Tikiya Gedolah. Eshakor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefillah lemikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
What is that?